Welcome to Red Kingdom Sports, and I wanted to discuss some of the news stories that are out on this football Saturday. And the first news story I have is Clyde Lair is back for the Kansas City Chiefs, and obviously as a Chiefs fan, I am very, very happy to see this. I really like Clyde. I know we harped on him early on in the season because he had that fumbling issue where he had fumbles in back-to-back games, but that's not him. That's not normal for him, and I don't think that's going to continue. He did, he had that injury, but now he's back. He's had time to recover, so hopefully, his body's healthy, ready to go, ready to grind out the rest of this season. He is a very good player for the Chiefs offense. He's had 2 100-yard rushing games this season. Last week, Mahomes was comfortable throwing the checkdowns in the backfield to Darrell Williams. And so I think Clyde coming back, who I think is a very, very tough runner, a very strong runner, I think is a great piece for the Chiefs to have come back this week against a very tough opponent in the Dallas Cowboys. Next, we have Lamar Jackson is questionable with an illness, along with Marquis Brown out against the Bears. Now, if Lamar doesn't play, that's obviously a big hit. Lamar is out because of an illness. Marquis Brown is out because of a thigh. Now, Marquis Brown has become a very reliable receiver this season for Lamar Jackson. We kind of make fun of him because he, had quite a few drops early on this season, but he's turned into quite a great receiver for the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. And obviously, if Lamar Jackson is out, he's only questionable now, but if he's out, that's going to be a huge hit for the Ravens offense because the offense basically relies on Lamar Jackson. So if he's out against the Bears, who the Bears themselves have an injury in Khalil Mack, who's out for the season, but that's a huge hit for the Ravens if both of those don't play. But I would expect Lamar would probably play. He's a tough dude. He'll tough it out, I assume. But like I said, if he doesn't play with those two guys out, that really, really hurts the Ravens. Big Ben will start for the Chargers, which is really good because that's a Sunday night football game that I don't think deserves the Sunday night spotlight. I think, honestly, I get it. SoFi is a nice stadium, but I don't think there's any reason for that to be a Sunday night football game at this point in the season. But it's good to see that Big Ben will start against the Chargers, even though I do think the Chargers will still win this game. But yeah, I don't understand why this is a Sunday night football game. I really don't. I think it's just because of the hype of SoFi, but I think we've had enough of it the last 2 years. I think it's time to put on, I don't know when the flexing starts, but once the flexing starts, if this was a game that could have been flexed, I don't know why it wasn't. Next, we have Sean Payton upset over the taunting rule. He says that it's being over officiated, and honestly, as an NFL fan, as a football fan, I think we can all agree with that one. There's no place for the over officiating of the taunting rule. It is quite frustrating, and I don't see any reason why the NFL needs to put an emphasis on something like that. Because, yes, there's fights in the NFL. No, we don't want to see that. But at the same time, taunting, having a little bit of fun, having a little bit of an emotion. I don't think there's a place in football for taunting to be over officiated, especially in crucial moments like we've had in that Steelers-Bears game this year. The Monday Night Football game with the Giants-Chiefs. There's just no reason for it to be over officiated. There's no reason for it to be an emphasis. Just make the fine outrageous for getting into a fight. Make the penalty for fighting heavy. Don't put a burden on these players. Don't take away their ability to have emotion, celebrate. There's just no reason for it. So I agree with Sean Payton. Sean Payton, he hates the refs. The Saints have been absolutely screwed by the refs in the recent years. I think it was that 2018 playoff game against the Rams where it was an obvious pass interference. They got screwed. They got screwed last week on a roughing the passer call. It just feels like some of the worst calls go against the Saints. And, I understand Sean Payton's frustration. He's just like one of us. He absolutely despises the refs. And, yeah, what else can there be discussed about this taunting rule? It's being overemphasized. There's just no reason for it. We like our players to have emotions. I've obviously made way too many videos about it, but as long as it's a point of discussion, I will probably continue to talk about it. Because I like a lot of emotion out of my players. And no, I don't like fighting, but I also like emotion out of players. Now, we have some unfortunate news. Carson for the Seahawks is out for the season with neck surgery. That's not something you ever want to hear, but I hope he has a speedy recovery and gets better soon. We all think about him because, neck surgery, no matter how big or how small it is, it's always a scary thought. Next, we have Gronk could play against the Giants, which I think is something that will be a huge help to the Buccaneers offense and the Buccaneers as a whole, which has struggled the last few weeks. The Saints game last week against Washington, the Buccaneers have struggled the last few weeks. And so I think Gronk playing will definitely help Brady because he'll have his good old buddy back, old reliable. So I think that is good for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now I want to talk about some fines. So DK Metcalf was fined $6,949 for his actions in the Packers game. That's fine, whatever. Carlos Dunlap was fined $10,300 for throwing a shoe, not taunting, my bad. And I just want to make a point, like, what these NFL fines make absolutely no sense, because Jerry Jeudy was fined $12,875 earlier this season for a celebration. I think it was when he did the bow and arrow celebration. I'm just like, these fines make absolutely no sense. Like, he gets fined for throwing a shoe, like, whatever, man. Like, but $10,000 for doing that, but Jerry Jeudy gets fined more for a celebration. Like, the NFL makes absolutely no sense. There's no precedent with anything they said. I feel like if Roger Goodell wakes up in a bad mood one day, he's like, all right, fine that guy $10,000. All right, I wake up in a good mood. This guy gets a slap on the wrist. It's just the NFL and their fines are kind of frustrating. Because I was listening to DK's interview with, I think it was Barstool Sports the other day, and he was talking about how, he appealed his fines, or I was listening to somebody, it may not have been DK, but it's just funny how the appeal process goes in the NFL. It's just weird. I don't understand. Like I said, I think that just Roger Goodell, if he wakes up mad one day, he's gonna find a guy, and then the next day he wakes up, finds a guy even less for the same action. So the NFL fines make absolutely no sense, and just the randomness of the DK Metcalf number, I don't understand it either. I don't know why it's not a flat like 6,900, 6,950, or 7,000, or 6,500. It's a 6,949. The NFL is so weird when it comes to their fine numbers. It's weird. But those are some of the news stories that came out the last couple days. I hope everybody is enjoying their football Saturday. I quite am enjoying it. But yeah, those are the news stories that I wanted to discuss. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Give me your thoughts down below on what you think of the news, and give me any other news stories that I may have missed. And I will see you in the next one.